There are films that speak in whispers and others that howl like a storm. Weapons is neither. It doesn't ask for your attention, it commands it with a gaze that seems to know you already, like a mirror into your deepest unease. Set your alarms for August 8th, 2025, because cinema's most whispered about horror epic is coming, and it promises not just a story, but a shadow that stays with you long after the lights come up. It all begins in the quiet little town of Maybrook, the kind of place that gives off that too perfect, too clean vibe, the calm before some supernatural tempest. One night at 2:17 a.m. precisely, 17 children from the same elementary class simply vanish. No screaming, no struggle, no signs, just one child left behind, silent and shaken, and the thick, growing weight of dread that spreads like fog over the town. The opening is cruelly quiet, so hushed it hurts, and in that silence we find the brilliance of the narrative's build. What follows is not just a straightforward mystery or a creature feature. No, Weapons is something more layered, more sinister. It unfolds not linearly, but like a fever dream, a tapestry of fractured stories, broken timelines, and overlapping lives, bound by trauma and touched by something otherworldly. You're not watching a story unravel, you're wandering through its broken pieces. The film's architecture notes subtly to the likes of Magnolia, where characters bleed into each other's arcs, where the town itself becomes a pulsing character, breathing paranoia and grief. Each person touched by the disappearances begins to spiral not just into madness, but into revelation. The father, whose child is gone but still hears his voice in the static of late-night television. The teacher, who blames herself, haunted not by what happened, but what didn't. The police officer, who's no stranger to Maybrook's darker history, and the child left behind, whose silence speaks volumes no adult seems ready to interpret. The cast that brings this psychological puzzle to life is both deliberate and devastatingly effective. Julia Garner becomes the emotional anchor, a woman fraying at the seams as Justine, a teacher caught between memory and guilt. Josh Brolin, ever the embodiment of tortured strength, turns in a performance as Archer Graff that feels volcanic, his grief simmering just beneath a calm masculine mask. There's Alden Ehrenreich, whose brooding presence suggests secrets buried just beneath the badge. And Benedict Wong, always a pleasure to watch, playing a school principal whose attempts to maintain order crack with each scene. But this film doesn't rely on just performances or aesthetics. There's something in its atmosphere, a kind of psychological gravity that pulls you in. The camera lingers a second too long. The shadows feel just a bit too deep. The dialogue walks a fine line between intimate and ominous. And the music? It doesn't score scenes, it infiltrates them. A low, pulsating dread that grows under your skin until you can't tell whether your heartbeat is syncing with the soundtrack or if you're just afraid to listen too closely. What elevates Weapons beyond the horror genre is its refusal to hand you clean answers. It's not a movie obsessed with what happened, it's a film possessed by the consequences of it, of vanishing, of forgetting, of the eerie permanence of trauma. And in that, it becomes far more terrifying than any monster in the dark. Behind the lens, Zach Cregger has managed something exceptional. With Barbarian, he proved he could twist genre conventions into something fresh and brutal. But Weapons is more refined. It's confident without being showy, bold without being brash. It asks questions without the arrogance of expecting answers. That's the real trick of great horror. It's not about what scares you on the screen, but what keeps gnawing at you when you close your eyes. And make no mistake, this one gnaws with elegance. There's also a fascinating layer of digital storytelling behind the film, a marketing campaign that bleeds into the world of the movie itself, websites filled with fictional articles, interviews, even eerie surveillance footage, all planting seeds of doubt in your reality. You begin to wonder, is Maybrook just fiction or a mirror? And once you begin asking that, the film's grip tightens. Rumors swirl, of course, that this is part of a larger universe, that Barbarian and Weapons are connected, that we'll see characters or story threads pulled from the shadows in future films. Nothing's confirmed, and yet the breadcrumbs are there, teasing, daring us to speculate. It's cinematic sleight of hand, leaving just enough gaps for our imagination to fill with horror far worse than any director could design. So what is Weapons? Really? It's a story of disappearance, yes, but it's also a meditation on the things we try to bury. Memories, regrets, truths, and how, inevitably, they claw their way back. It's not interested in jump scares or gore. It's after something far more elusive, your unease, your imagination, and perhaps even your belief in what's real. Make no mistake, this is the kind of film that demands to be experienced, not just watched. So mark your calendar, ready your nerves, and prepare to question everything. And if you're as intrigued as I am, if that whisper of dread made your spine tingle, you know what to do. Like this, share it, drop your theories in the comments. Let's unravel Maybrook together. Subscribe, if you dare, to follow this tale beyond the trailer. And as always, check the description below for more breadcrumbs and a few more dark corners to explore. Until next time, stay curious and stay just a little afraid.